Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Welcome everybody to this Janmashtami meditation series. We are in week 3, where we are progressively moving towards the Janmashtami, and as and when we move towards Janmashtami, we are trying to prepare our consciousness for the Janmashtami. If you can hear me properly, and if you can see me clearly, can you please give me some confirmation? Is there too much background noise or something, or is it audible? Okay. Okay. So we will begin today's discussion. So I was just trying to see what lessons we can learn from Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Last week we discussed Putana Uddhar, how Putana got delivered and how that mercy of Krishna was unparalleled, inconceivable, beyond human logic. So I was thinking to discuss another pastime of Krishna this week. But then as I was browsing through my notes, I came upon a bhajan. It's a very nice bhajan. It's called as Chaurashtakam. When I saw that bhajan, my consciousness became completely fixed on that bhajan. And then I just kept reading it again and again and again. And then before I realized the time for the class had already come. So today we will discuss that bhajan called Chaurashtakam. Very nice bhajan. It is written by Bilwa Mangal Thakur. We'll try to meditate upon it. This bhajan talks about how the devotees of Krishna get conquered by Krishna, whose basic profile is that he's a thief. And he steals so many things in the lives of a devotee. What all things does he steal? What is his profile? What security he gives to his devotees? What is his expertise? What is his action plan? All that is discussed in this bhajan. I have sent the link of that bhajan in the in the Zoom chat. I'll request some devotee to circulate it in the WhatsApp chat also, if devotees want to have it in the WhatsApp. But even before I do any of these discussions, I would like to remember that the reason why we are all sitting here trying to meditate on the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna, the reason why we are sitting here is because one transcendental, elderly, saintly gentleman at the age of 70 decided to cross over the boundaries of his country and go to an unknown land where he knew nothing about the ways of life. And then he struggled there for 1 year to establish the seeds of Krishna consciousness. And by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, those seeds spreaded and spread out so much that now the entire planet is under its shelter. We are talking about His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is my spiritual grandfather. It is by his mercy that we are able to access the writings of these previous acharyas, such as Bilwa Mangal Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit, Srinivasa Acharya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, etc., etc., the 6 Goswamis. We are very grateful to these acharyas, but without the mercy of Prabhupada, we couldn't have accessed these acharyas also. So today, as we sing the bhajan written by Bilwa Mangal Thakur, we first need to express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, by whose mercy this ocean of Vedic knowledge, which was earlier locked in the language of Sanskrit, has now been opened to us. So I would like to take his blessings and offer this session only for his pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and pleasure of the sincere followers of Prabhupada. For their pleasure, this session is dedicated. And I would like to take their blessings and invoke auspiciousness by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Pranam mantras. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वत देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरिः ओम् तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So we are discussing a bhajan which is commonly known as Chaurashtakam, but some people also call it as the Vraje Prasiddham. This bhajan generally devotees sing in the Adhik Mas. So once in 3 years, the Adhik Mas comes. That means an extra month gets added into the lunar calendar, and in that month generally devotees like to sing this bhajan. But I see that this bhajan is so nice that it can be sung on all the days, in all the months, in all the weeks, in all the years. It can be sung for eternity. This verse talks about, or this bhajan or this composition talks about how eager Krishna is to take us back to God, and how eager he is to have us back in his eternal abode, in his eternal pastimes, how eager he is to make us fortunate, how he goes out of his way to help his devotees. It is devotees who actually do not understand the mood and mission of Lord Krishna, and then blame him that he's not doing anything for us. He's just left us in my spiritual life. I'm not getting any mercy from him. I'm praying day after day, night after night, but I don't see an advancement happening. The devotees, they do not realize how much Krishna is helping them. When you sit in an aeroplane, the airplane is moving at such a high speed. You're covering miles after miles within few hours. You will not realize while you are sitting in the aeroplane. You will only realize when you get down or get out of the aeroplane, once the aeroplane has reached its destination. So Krishna Bhakti is like that. Actually, every devotee with every single mantra of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, with every single mantra, they make tremendous advancement. They defeat universes with one single mantra. They defeat so many inauspiciousness with one single mantra. They make leaps and bounds of progress with one single mantra. It is just that they are not realizing it. Only when they will close their eyes at the time of death and open it and find themselves in Golok Vrindavan, they'll realize, yeah, I made a lot of progress. This is one perspective. The other perspective is a humble sadhaka actually feels that he's not making any progress. If somebody is feeling that, yeah, I'm making too much progress, how's your spiritual life, Prabhu? My spiritual life is absolutely fantastic, fabulous, wonderful. Everything is just fine. This is another sign that maybe the sadhaka is not progressing. My teachers teach me that if there is no struggle in your sadhana, that means actually you're not progressing. So both aspects have to be understood. One needs to struggle or be struggling, keep struggling in their sadhana with some elements of relishment. And at the same time, one should be grateful and patient and thankful to Krishna that, yes, it appears to me that I'm not progressing, but actually I'm progressing. I am not able to understand it, but you are able to see it and help me. Please keep me under your lotus feet like that. Always one should pray. One should not become dejected in the path of Krishna consciousness. One should not become devoid of enthusiasm. So this bhajan, when you will see it, you'll find that the mood of the Acharya here, Bilva Mangal Thakur, is very, strictly speaking, very contradictory. He is speaking of the glories of Krishna. He's speaking how he will tie Krishna in his heart. But at the same time, he's saying that my heart is full of darkness. And so both aspects, we see a very peculiar and a strange and a wonderful flavor of humility in this verse, in this poem. So let's go with it. So do you want me to share my screen, or would you like me to just sing and you will refer it on your own? What would you prefer? You have to tell me, otherwise I don't know. What is your preference? Okay, devotees are saying that they will refer it on their own, but then only one person has told. What about others? Have you opened this in your mobile? No screen sharing. Okay. Another devotee says no screen sharing. We are against screen sharing. Okay, no problem. So let's sing this verse. It is called as Vraje Prasiddham Navanita Chauram, commonly known as Chaurashtikam. The author is Bilva Mangal Thakur. How many of you do not know the pastime or the life history of Bilva Mangal Thakur? How many of you do not know the pastime? Do not know, not those who know. How many of you do not know the life history of Bilva Mangal Thakur? Please raise your hand. Okay, quite many people don't know, so I will just recite. So Bilva Mangal Thakur was a great acharya, primarily based out of South India. He had a different kind of a name, a South Indian name also. He was born in a very aristocratic Brahminical family, and trained as a nice Brahmana. But as he grew up, he became entangled in the clutches of a prostitute whose name was Chintamani. Now he started visiting the prostitute, and this illicit sex or this affairs with a prostitute is so degrading. It was slowly corrupting the character and the attitude of Bilva Mangal Thakur. He started visiting this prostitute very frequently. One day, just like it happens with everybody in life, the father of Bilva Mangal Thakur passed away. And when he was doing the last funeral rites of his father, it was raining. And at the same time, he was in a hurry. Bilwamangal Thakur was in a hurry to go and meet the prostitute. Even on the day of performing funeral rites of his father, even when it was raining heavily, his father has died, it's raining heavily, but still he wants to go and spend time with the prostitute even on that day. That was his level of degradation. Somehow he was fighting with the priest, and you finish the rituals faster, I have to go now, I have to go now. Like that. The prostitute was thinking it's raining too heavily. Maybe Bilwa Mangal will not come today. So she closed the doors and went off to sleep. But just see the determination of Bilwa Mangal Thakur. He ran out after performing the funeral rites of his father. He ran out in the heavy rain. And then he came on the banks of the river, which was there in the path between him and his prostitute's house. And because of torrential rain, there was no boatman at that point of time. He didn't know how to cross. So after standing for some time and after looking for some time, when he didn't see any way to cross, he just jumped into the flooding river, hoping to cross it on his own strength. But then at one point of time, he started drowning. And then he saw something is floating in the river, some piece of wood, some piece of log. So he just caught hold of it. And with the help of that, he remained afloat. And then somehow he crossed the river and went on the other side. After coming on the other side, he thought that this log will be useful for me when I'm returning. So he just tried to pull it out and keep it on the shores or the banks of the river. While pulling out, he realized it was not a log. It was someone's dead body which was floating. And using someone's dead body, he crossed the river. Then when he reached the prostitute's house, the doors were locked, the windows were locked. He shouted, nobody was hearing. He thought that he needs to jump over the boundary walls and then get into the house. He tried his best, he couldn't do, but then at one place he was seeing that some piece of rope is hanging. So he just took help of that rope to cross over the boundary wall of the house of the prostitute. And after crossing, he realized that it was not a rope, but it was a snake. Still, even after using dead bodies and snakes to reach the destination, his determination was not dampened by anything. And then he knocked at the door of the house of Chintamani, and then he got inside with a big smile on his face, thinking that Chintamani will be so happy to see him. Chintamani will worship him, will shower a lot of love on him, that such a nice lover she has, who even on the day of the death of his father, despite torrential rain, despite no conveyance facilities, despite doors being locked, such a great lover that he has managed to come. But what did Chintamani do when she saw all this? She became very angry, to the surprise of Bilwa Mangal Thakur. She said that just look at you. Today your father has died. And with so much inconvenience you have come here. Door was locked. You have so much determination to come and meet a prostitute, to come and meet me. Who am I? I'm just a bag of bones, flesh, mucus, stool, and urine, packaged nicely. That's all. You have so much of love for this bag of flesh, mucus, bones, urine, pus, which is packaged nicely. What can I give you? Few moments of illusory pleasure. If this much of love, if you had for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, by now you may have achieved, you would have achieved him also. As soon as Chintamani, the prostitute, when she said this, immediately the words of Chintamani, they cracked like thunder in the heart of Bilwa Mangal Thakur. And he immediately got up, thanked Chintamani, left the place of Chintamani, went back into the shelter of his spiritual master, and became very serious in his practice of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada in one place tells that it was the spiritual master of Bilva Mangal Thakur who spoke through the prostitute. So the Guru Tattva goes to this degree also. He sometimes the spiritual master speaks through the prostitute, sometimes the spiritual master speaks through a thief or a dog or some family member or some layman who is in the street. We just have to be attentive. But then we should not create a situation where the spiritual master becomes forced to rescue us from the house of a prostitute. That should also not be the case. So anyways, Bilva Mangal Thakur, at that time he had some other name. He went and started practicing Krishna consciousness very nicely under the guidance of his spiritual master. His spiritual master became very pleased with him and awarded him a name called Leela Sukh, because he was able to relish the name form qualities, especially the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, so nicely. Give nice commentaries on it and write nice commentaries on it and give nice detailed explanation and citations from Srimad Bhagavatam for every thing, that he was called as Leela Sukh. And then his spiritual master told him, now you go to Vrindavan and spend the rest of your life there practicing Krishna consciousness. So Bilva Mangal Thakur was on the order of his spiritual master in a purified state of existence, walking towards Vrindavan. But then something very strange happened. He was walking towards Vrindavan, and on the way he saw a very beautiful lady. She appeared from her appearance to be the wife of another. But still, somehow, Bilva Mangal Thakur got attracted to her beauty. On the way only, he started following her. She was taking water from the river, but he started following her. This woman became aware that this man, who was by now a sannyasi, has started following someone, following her. So she hurriedly went home and informed her husband that, you see, one mendicant is following me. The husband was a very hospitable person. He was very respectful to saintly people. He said that if a sannyasi is following you, then you should bring the sannyasi home. Why do you run away to come and tell me? So he immediately came out. Bilva Mangal Thakur was standing on the door of this person's house. Then the husband offered obeisances and he said, my dear saintly person, what do you want? How can I serve you? He said, straight away he said, that I want to spend some time in private with your wife. The hospitality of this saintly person, of this householder, was so great that he said, yes, anything for your seva, anything for your service. And he made him sit down nicely, gave him something to drink, some water, some juice. And then he told his wife that this saintly person, this sannyasi, he wants to spend some time in private with you. You please go and satisfy him in every possible way. That is the success of our life. That's how he ordered. This shows the level of hospitality of the devoted residents of in those times. Against her own desire, following the instructions of her husband, the wife went into the room where the sannyasi was staying. Seeing the chaste behavior of the wife and seeing the generous, unconditional, hospitable nature of the husband, and also by now realizing that what he had done was not correct, Bilva Mangal was already repenting. Leela Sukh was already repenting. As the lady walked into the room, Bilva Mangal or Leela Sukh, he asked the lady to take out the hairpin from her hair and give him. And so the lady did that immediately. She took out the hairpin. And Bilwa Mangal Thakur, from his own hands, he plugged out his own eyes and threw it on the floor. He said that these eyes are the source of all problem. I don't want to see anything except the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. I was so nicely involved in the service of my spiritual masters. I was so nicely serving Lord Krishna. But these eyes, they are so bad that they still want to see anything other than Krishna. The Acharya Srila Prabhupada comments that only a person who is at the level of bhava, that is one stage below prema, will have the capacity to do such a thing. Pulling out your own eyes from your own hands is not a joke. Only somebody at the level of bhava, where they have understood their preliminary rasa or relationship with Krishna, can do this. So when he plugged out his own eyes, he became blind. And then the faith of the householder in the sannyas order or in the saintly people became reconfirmed, reaffirmed. How great are saintly people? How great are these sannyasis? And then finally, with the help of another person from that village, he finally reached Vrindavan. And there he spent the rest of his life simply chanting Hare Krishna and writing these bhajans, one of which we are going to discuss today. It is said that often Krishna would come and have some pastimes, listen to the bhajans of Bilwa Mangal Thakur as he would be chanting in his house, in his hut. And Lord Krishna used to like that very much. And Bilwa Mangal Thakur would know that yes, Krishna is coming and hearing as a small child. This is the life history of Bilwa Mangal Thakur. Now that you know about Bilwa Mangal Thakur sufficiently, we would now like to discuss this wonderful, nostalgic creation of Bilwa Mangal Thakur. So I'll just put my mobile here to see the bhajan. So what I will do, I will go verse by verse, and in the end, or maybe first, verse by verse, and in the end, if time permits, we'll sing the entire bhajan. Vraje prasidham navneet chauram, Vraje prasidham navneet chauram, Gopangananam chadukula chauram, Gopangananam chadukula chauram, Anek janmarjita pap chauram, Anek janmarjita pap chauram, Chauragraganyam Purusham namami, Chauragraganyam Purusham namami. That's the first paragraph. It starts off in a great, and the starting only is very great. It says, Vraje prasidham navanita chauram. This verse basically talks about the profile of Krishna. What is his profile? His profile is that he is famous in Vraja. If there is anybody who is famous in Vraja, that is Krishna. Who is famous, about whom everybody keeps talking all the time, that person is called as a famous person. So in Vraja, the word Vraja means movement. Why is Vrindavan called as Vraja? Because the desires of Krishna are ever changing. Now he wants this, next moment he wants that, next moment he wants this, next moment he wants that. And the people of Vrindavan adjust themselves with the changing desires, ever changing desires of Krishna. No questions asked. Nobody tells him anything, nobody asks him anything. They love him so much that whatever he wants, that is fine. Therefore, the land of Vrindavan is called as Vraja. because the people of Vrindavan are constantly on move, trying to satisfy the moving desires of Krishna. This is the qualification which is needed to go back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, when Krishna was saying the Samam Bonam of the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So there he uses the word Vraja, that come to my shelter. He could have said Mamekam Sharanam Gacha or some other word, synonym, Paryayavachi he could have used, but he uses the word Vraja to tell Arjuna that you have to walk into the footsteps of the people of Vraja. When I asked them to stop the Govardhan worship, they simply did it. And when the whole of Vrindavan was flooded, all the cattle was floating, all the crops were destroyed, houses were destroyed. Not even one person came and complained that, Krishna, you told, now you see we are suffering, therefore we don't want to associate with you. Your advice is not correct. No. They were ready to go through all the ordeal without any questions asked. This is the qualification of staying with Krishna. And for such people only, and only for such people, Krishna personally lifts the Govardhan, and then a pastime of Govardhan Lila happens. So he is very famous in Vraja, Vraje Prasiddham. What does he do? Navanit Chauram. Freshly made butter, he would like to steal. Now, attraction of Krishna to butter is legendary. When you churn the milk, the best part which comes out is the butter, and that comes afloat. It starts floating up, and then what which remains is not of very good quality. So as you churn your heart, or as you churn your life over a period of time in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, your heart also overflows with Krishna Prem and then becomes afloat like a butter. It's the best thing. Butter represents, Navanit means best things. All best things have to be offered in Krishna's service. Fresh best things have to be offered in Krishna's service. So by the practice of Krishna consciousness, whenever something becomes best, Krishna comes and takes it. When your heart will become free of the unwanted things which are not favorable for Krishna consciousness, and then when it becomes fresh with the constant remembrance of the name, form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna, when it becomes soft by Vaishnav Seva and Vaishnav Sadachar, then Krishna will come and steal it. Vraje Prasiddham Navanit Chauram Gopangananam Chadukula Chauram. He stole. Let me read the translation first. I offer the pranam to the foremost of the thieves, who is famous in Vraja as the butter thief, and he who steals the gopis' clothes. Gopangananam Chadukula Chauram. So these gopis of Vrindavan, they had a desire to have Krishna as their husband. And they were praying to Mother Durga, Katyayani, goddess Durga. That's why immediately after the Kartik Vrata, the Katyayani Vrata begins. That is the Vrata of the gopis. Maybe next class, the title of the next class can be Simple Women with Sublime Devotion. This is the description of the gopis. Simple women with sublime devotion. So these simple women with sublime devotion, they wanted Krishna as their husband. So they were praying to the demigod. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna condemns demigod worship. But if we approach some demigod, not for getting any favors out of them, but just to seek their blessings so that we can advance in our Krishna Bhakti, that is considered bona fide. That is considered proper. If I approach Lord Shiva and pray to him that, my dear Lord Shiva, you are so nice, a sincere devotee, a dedicated soul, surrendered soul to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu You're the best amongst all the devotees. Can you kindly bless me so that I can also develop some love for Krishna, just like you have? This is considered proper. But if I approach some demigod, Shiva, Durga, Kali, or Brahma, Chandra, Varuna, Surya, thinking that they are the supreme and ask benedictions out of them, thinking that only they can give me and Krishna cannot give me, that is considered uh, abominable. So these gopis, they were praying, and Krishna fulfilled their desire once when these gopis were having their bath. So Krishna sent a 2-year-old, 1.5 or a 2-year-old child. So when a child comes, generally nobody cares, like what will the child understand? So these ladies, they were having bath in a lake, which was designated as a lake for the ladies to have bath in a forest where nobody generally comes. So Krishna sent a 1.5-year-old or a 2-year-old boy, children. Many kinds of Krishna used to have 2-year-old friends also. So he went and then he was walking around on the banks of the lake and nobody was bothering him. Some small baby has come, let him come, let him go. But this small baby, under the direction of Krishna, was picking up the clothes of all the gopis. And then ultimately he took all the clothes to Krishna. And Krishna put it with him. And then, the pastime as described is Krishna wanted to fulfill the desires, the innermost desires of the gopis. So the Bhagavatam says that the wife becomes without clothes only in front of her husband. These days, women like to be without clothes in front of the whole world. That is their empowerment, and that is their expression of art. That is how they celebrate their existence, their body. Such perverted consciousness, such misdirected civilization. According to the Vedic culture, a woman cannot be naked in front of anyone except their husband. So Krishna wanted to give them that credit. See, Krishna does not get attracted by material things or by the bodies of women or men. No, Krishna is transcendental. Just like a diamond merchant may see a diamond fallen in a gutter, but he will not care for the gutter. He will only see the diamond. Similarly, Krishna only sees the soul. He doesn't care whether you have a white body or a black body, a tall body or a short body or a fat body or a thin body or an Indian body or an American body, demigod body or an amoeba body. All that is immaterial, because for Krishna, all this is not just material. I mean, no material things can satisfy Krishna. Krishna is a complete spiritual personality, and only spiritual desires and spiritual bhav can satisfy Krishna. That's why Duryodhana, when he tried to offer so many delicacies, decorated very nicely in golden plates, made by the best chefs of the world at that time, Krishna just rejected it. And he went and ate something which was not very tasty in the house of Vidura. Why? Because the bhava was there. So Krishna is bhava grahi janardhan. No material things can satisfy Krishna. So if somebody is thinking that, some people who don't have faith in Krishna, they misinterpret this pastime that Krishna is wanting to see the bodies of naked women and all that. This is all wrong. In the Krishna book or in the Bhagavatam, you will read that when Bhaumasur is being killed, at that time, the worshipable deity of Bhaumasur, she comes out in front of Krishna without wearing any clothes, begging Krishna to protect and forgive Bhaumasur. But Krishna, as soon as he sees that this naked woman has come in the battlefield, who is a celestial woman, Krishna just turns his head in the other direction and continues the fight without paying attention. That means he doesn't want to see such things. But why Krishna is doing this pastime of Gopi Jana Vastra Hari, why he has his name, is that he has stolen the clothes of the gopis, because the gopis' inner desire is that. They want to have some transaction with Krishna where they want to feel that Krishna is my husband. So Krishna, fulfilling their desire, he with his clever talks, he fulfilled their desire by seeing them without clothes, and then one by one gave the clothes of everybody back to them. Now, if anybody else will do such a thing, they will be called so abominable, so degraded. But when Krishna does this, that becomes worshipable, because Krishna is Jitendriya. And generally, people do such things, trying to see naked men and naked women out of lusty desires. But Krishna is doing this out of love for his devotees. He is Jitendriya. I'm taking some time to explain this point because it is a very subtle point which people can easily misunderstand, and they can relate it to normal boy and girl situation. That is not like it. Please understand, in Dwarka, each of the queens of Krishna were the expansion of internal energy of Krishna. Kamadev or Cupid used to daily fire his arrows on the wives of Krishna. He tried his best in Vrindavan to shoot his arrows on Krishna. He gave up. Nothing is possible. Krishna cannot be affected. So in Dwarka, when he saw that Krishna is having 16,108 wives, so he used to think that let me make the wives of Krishna at least lusty. Now he tried his best to shoot so many kinds of arrows. There are, I think, 8 stages of lust. So he tried everything. But out of frustration, he saw that even the wives of Krishna were not affected by the modes of material nature and or by the lusty desires. So much so that Kamdev became fully frustrated and he decided that I should leave Dwarka and go away. So therefore, it is said that Dwarka, the entire existence of Dwarka was free of lusty desires. And these women, who were the internal expansions of internal energy of Krishna, as the wives of Krishna, who were not affected by Kamadev or Cupid, above the modes of material nature, liberated souls, fortunate souls, when they used to go and show feminine gestures to Krishna, trying to attract him or get a passionate glance from him, they also used to fail. I mean, Krishna was such a great personality that he wouldn't get agitated by the queens of Dwarka also. Duryodhana, when he was in the Rajasuya Yagya of Maharaj Yudhishthir, Krishna had come with all his wives there in Indraprasth. Duryodhana says that when he saw the wives of Krishna moving around in the Indraprasth, he felt that the opulence of Indraprasth is greater than Brahmalok also, or Indralok also. Duryodhana described that just like on a dark night, when we see sometimes a flash of lightning, it looks so beautiful. Similarly, when the wives of Krishna move around here and there in the palace, occasionally, sometimes their leg or sometimes their face or sometimes their waist becomes visible. That moment when the face, leg, hand or something becomes visible, that moment itself was so beautiful that it was compared to seeing a flash of thunder and lightning in a dark sky. That was the beauty of the wives of Krishna. We cannot even begin to describe. And such wives couldn't control Krishna. Such a personality who is Jitendriya, he's 13, 14 years old, and he's surrounded by many, many gopis. And then he wants to fulfill the desire of the gopis. And then this Gopi Jana Vastra Hari pastime happens. So Gopangananam Chadukula Choram. He fulfilled the desires of the gopis. The gopis thought that yes, in earlier ages, if a woman is touched by a man, that means she cannot be married to anyone else. Similarly, if a woman is seen by a man, that means she cannot be married to anyone else. So he gave that satisfaction to the gopis that yes, today my existence, my body has become successful because it has been used in the service of Shyam Sundar. How lucky I am. They got this kind of feeling. And from today, Krishna is my lover, Krishna is my husband. Like that they used to think. So that is this pastime of Gopangananam Chadukula Choram. So not only he steals butter, सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य माम ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. He says that I will give you freedom from all sinful reactions. This is not a joke. This is not a mere sentiment. So we all have had millions and billions and trillions and quadrillions, or maybe we don't even know the count, those many lifetimes we have had, and in all the lifetimes we have committed sinful activities. Life by itself in this material world is considered sinful, and Krishna steals all that something has gone away from you without your notice. So similarly, you simply follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, try to follow the four relative principles, try to chant your 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses, and you will not even realize where your sinful reactions have gone, when it went, how it went. And Krishna does not expect a thank you also out of you for this. That is the meaning of Aneka Janmarjita Papa Chauram. Chauragraganyam Purusham. That's the profile of Krishna. Till now, I just described the profile of Krishna. Now, in the second verse, we'll discuss the expertise of Krishna. Shri Radhikaya Hridayasya Chauram Navam Buddha Shamalakanti Chauram Padashritanam Chasamastachauram Padashritanam Chasamastachauram Chauragraganyam Purusham Namami. This is a very beautiful verse. This talks about the expertise of Krishna. It says, I offer my pranam to the foremost of the thieves. Chauragraganyam. If you make a line of, if you make a ranking of the thieves, nobody is better than Krishna. He's Purusham, he's the eternal enjoyer. So I offer my pranam to the foremost of the thieves, who is the supreme enjoyer. And what he does, Shri Radhikaya Hridayasya Chauram. I offer pranam, okay, who steals Srimati Radhika's heart. Now, who is Srimati Radharani? She is the eternal consort of Lord Krishna. If there is anybody who can actually give any happiness to Krishna, it is Srimati Radharani. If there is anybody who can actually assist Krishna in his pastimes for the satisfaction of Krishna, it is Srimati Radharani. We are all looking for love of God. If anybody has all the love of God, that is Srimati Radharani. And look at the expertise of Krishna. One of the qualities of Krishna is that he is always surrounded by devotees who have wonderful love of God. Sometimes people struggle to accept that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. They say Narayan is the supreme. They say Vishnu is the supreme. They say some other incarnation is the supreme. Some other people say some other demigods are the supreme. But you just see. Tell me which other personality in the whole creation has a dedicated devotee of the caliber and the class of Srimati Radharani? Nobody else. This itself is the proof that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Who else has a devotee like Srimati Radharani? So sorry for the glitch. I don't know what happened. The video just went off. Are you still able to hear me? Are you all still there? Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. So the mood of Srimati Radharani is very supreme, worth discussion. She says, Ashlishya va padaratam pinastumam. Oh my dear Krishna, whether you make me happy by roughly embracing me, or whether you make me broken-hearted by not being present before me for the rest of eternity, in all conditions, you are my worshipful Lord unconditionally. She does not want anything from Krishna. She just wants to serve Krishna. That is Srimati Radharani. And look at the expertise of Krishna. He is capable of stealing the heart of Srimati Radharani. Sri Radhikaya Dayasya Chauram Navambuda Shamalkanti Chauram. Now everybody compares Krishna to the fresh monsoon cloud. Navambuda. Ambuda means cloud. Nava, fresh monsoon cloud. It has one kanti or luster, which is compared to Sham. Navam Buddha Sham Alakanti Chauram. Sometimes Krishna feels like, why is someone comparing me to the fresh monsoon cloud? That's not a fair comparison. So what he does, he steals the dark luster of the fresh rain cloud also. All the scriptures, they describe him, his complexion, to be like the fresh monsoon rain cloud. But then Krishna makes a very strong statement. Okay, I have actually stolen the luster of the fresh monsoon cloud also. So therefore, you cannot compare him with me. Krishna is making a statement that you call me lotus-eyed, you call me lotus feet, you call me lotus navel. But actually, even lotus is not comparable to my beauty. Because you have nothing else to do upma or to do comparison with me. So therefore, you're using it. But you should understand that that is not the limit of my beauty. So similarly, we all say Krishna is like the fresh monsoon cloud, but if you put Krishna and the fresh monsoon cloud next to each other, you'll not look at the fresh monsoon cloud. Navam Buddha Shamala Kanti Chauram. So anything beautiful you imagine in this world and put Krishna next to it, you'll not see it after seeing Krishna. Pada Shritanam Chasamasta Chauram. The translation says that he steals the sins and the sufferings of those who take shelter of his lotus feet. But actually, if you go to the word-by-word translation of this, Padashritanam, Pada means feet, Ashrita means those who are dependent on the lotus feet of Krishna. Ashritana means plural, Padashritanam cha samasta chauram. That means those who have surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna takes away everything from them. Sounds very good, right? I came to Krishna consciousness thinking I'll become happy, thinking I'll become peaceful, thinking I'll get dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But here is Krishna. If you become padashritanam, that means if you become surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna, and if you associate with the devotees of Krishna, he will take away everything from you. Instead, what he will give you, he'll not give you dharma, he'll not give you artha, he'll not give you kama, he'll not give you moksha, but he will give you himself. Padashritanam cha samasta chauram. Chauragraganyam purusham namami. That was the second verse of Shikshashtakam. Sorry, Chaurashtakam. Now in the third verse, as we go there, we read about the action plan of Krishna. Now we read how he steals everything of the Padashritanam. Then after stealing, what does he do? Akinchani kritya padashritam yah karoti bheksham pathigehinam kenapyaho bhishana chauraidrig drishtah shruto va na jagattrayepi. So the Padashritanam who surrendered to Krishna, this is the action plan of Krishna. I'm telling you, before you come to Krishna consciousness, this is the plan of Krishna. First, he will take everything from you and then he'll make you an akinchana. Akinchani kritya padashritam yah. It means he turns his surrendered devotees into paupers, wandering, homeless beggars. How many of you want to become paupers, wandering, homeless beggars? Please raise your hand. See, none of you are raising your hand. Because everybody wants, okay, few of them are raising their hand. They are mad actually. So nobody wants to lose their home. Nobody wants to move from one place to another place all the time. But actually, if you see, this is good for your Krishna consciousness. Look at Lord Shiva. He never has his own house. The biggest illusion in the material world is to take loan from a bank and build your house. The biggest illusion is to think that I have a house. I'm sitting with my family members like this on a sofa. On one side, my son is there. On one side, my daughter is there. On one side, my in-laws are there. On one side, my in-laws from the other, my parents are there. On one side, my wife is there. On one side, my wife's sister is there. No, sir, you'll be kicked out. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much wealth you have, no matter how many houses you have, you cannot enjoy it eternally. One day you'll be kicked out and then nothing of it will remain. So better to give it up voluntarily rather than Krishna forcing it upon you. That's the meaning of akinchana. The word akinchana doesn't mean that I have no house, I have no place to stay, I'm wondering. That is not practical to understand also. The word akinchana means whether he or she has something or not, they consider everything which they have to be a property of Krishna, and their own property is the lotus feet of Krishna only. For example, Parikshit Maharaj, who was the ruler of the entire planet, falls into the akinchana category. Although he owns the entire planet, but he thinks that it is Krishna's property. If there is something in this whole creation which is mine, that is the lotus feet of Krishna, nothing else. So the only property which I have is the lotus feet of Krishna. Everything else which is there with me belongs to Krishna. This is called akinchana mentality. You may be the king of a particular state, or you may be the CEO of a particular organization, or you may be the great landowner or of many real estates here and there. You may be a great business tycoon. Still, if you think that everything which you have belongs to Krishna, nothing belongs to me, the only thing which is mine is the lotus feet of Krishna and the instructions of my spiritual master, that is called being an akinchana. So Krishna converts his devotees into akinchanas. That doesn't mean that he makes them homeless, wandering paupers and beggars. No. It simply means that he makes their consciousness like that. Of course, in some cases, he physically does that. Whenever yasyaham anugranami harishyai tad dhanam shanaihi. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam that when I see my devotee who wants to surrender to me but has some material attachments because of which he is not able to surrender to me, then I give my special mercy to him by taking away everything, so that his society, his family, his association will disregard him, disown him, disrespect him. And in that condition, when he comes in the association of devotees and gets love and care from them, then he understands that other than the association of devotees, I cannot go anywhere. And in that way, he feels sheltered in the association of devotees. And in that way, Krishna forces that weak-hearted devotee to become a strong-hearted, pure devotee of Krishna. This is called special mercy of Krishna. So, akinchana kritya padashritam yah. But this Krishna does with only those who have given the freedom to do so to Krishna. Krishna is a perfect gentleman. If you are praying that Krishna, please make my husband nice, please get him a promotion, please improve my health, please do this, please do that, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do that, please don't do. If you have given so many restrictions, then Krishna will not do such interferences in your life. Kenapyaho bhishan chauraidrik. So Bilawal Thakur is saying that we have never heard of such a thief. We have heard of big thieves, but we have never heard of such a thief. You give him a little bit of freedom, he takes away everything from you. It means he takes away everything which is not favorable for spiritual life to you and gives you everything which is favorable for spiritual life to you. Yoga kshema vahamyaham. To my devotees, I carry what they need and I preserve what they have. drishtaha shruto va na jagat trayepi. In all the three worlds, we have never seen or heard of such a thief. You know, nobody steals like this. Yadi, fourth verse. Yadi yanamapi haratya shesham giri prasaranapi paparasham आश्चर्य रूपो ननु चौरैदृग् दृष्ट्वा श्रुतो वा न मया कदापि. This verse talks about the security in Krishna consciousness. Yadi yanamapi haratyashesham. Simply by utterance of the name of Krishna, you just say Krishna, but you have to say it offenselessly, not with a desire that yesterday I ate chicken, so let me chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. No, that is called offensive chant. Not with desiring anything in return from Krishna, and not committing the 10 offenses against the holy name of Krishna. In an offenseless way, even if you chant, just like Ajamil chanted once, Narayana. Yadi anamapi haratyashesham giri prasarana pipaparasam. So you may have committed sinful activities, the sinful reactions of which after being piled up has become as big as a Meru mountain. If you chant the name of Krishna once offenselessly, that mountain of sin is destroyed. This consciousness of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is called Krishna consciousness. Mere utterance of his name purges one of a mountain of sins. Ascharya Rupo Nanu Chaura Idrig. Astonishingly wonderful thief, such an astonishingly wonderful thief I have never seen or heard of anywhere. Yes. Why? Because no other ritual or no other process mentioned in the Vedic literatures can do this. If you just try to see that other than chanting the holy name of Krishna, which demigod can I go to, or which process can I follow, which yoga can I do, which karma can I do, which jnana can I get, what can I do to get rid of the sinful reactions which I have? Nothing else is equal to the holy name of the Lord. In fact, I would like to further add to the statement of Bilva Mangal Thakur. One offenseless chanting of the holy name of the Lord can vanquish sins more than what we can do also. Suppose I take 1000 lifetimes and become Jagai and Madai in every lifetime and do something sinful, then I cannot perform so many sinful activities which the holy name cannot destroy, simply by one chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But this does not mean that devotees start taking advantage of it. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord is a seventh offense against the holy name of the Lord. So if somebody is chanting Hare Krishna thinking yesterday I did this sin, I did that sin, let me remove my sinful reactions by chanting the Hare Krishna, this is called cheating, and then such people will not be successful in their chanting, and then they'll be liable for treatment. Otherwise, every devotee in Krishna consciousness should remain fearless and should be happy that simply by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna will take care of everything. They need not worry about anything else. This is called security in Krishna consciousness. Fifth verse. Dhanam cha manam cha tathendriyani pranamscha hritva mama sarvameva palayase kutra dhrito dyachaura tvam bhakti damnasi maya niruddha. This verse speaks of the intimacy which one can have with Krishna, and only with Krishna and not with any other plenary incarnation of Krishna. The verse says, Dhanam, Chamanam, Chatathendriyani, three things. My dear Krishna, now that you have stolen my wealth, my honor, and my senses, tathendriyani, pranam hritva mamam sarvameva. Fourth one is also there. My life, pranam hritva mama sarvam, and everything which had, basically, Bilva Mangal Thakur is telling that out of false bodily consciousness conception of life, I was thinking that this wealth is mine, this honor, prestige which I'm getting in the society is mine, the sensory pleasures which I'm enjoying using my senses is mine, my life is mine. Sometimes people say that, oh Krishna, I'll give you my life. That life also is Krishna's actually. And mama sarvam eva. Now, whatever in that bodily conception of life I can think of is mine. Actually, none of it is mine. Everything belongs to Krishna, and everything has to be used in the service of Krishna. So Bilva Mangal Thakur is indirectly telling that if you become a devotee of Krishna, the hard knots of material attachment which are there in our hearts, Hridaya Granthi, which are making life so difficult and so embarrassing and so abominable in each and every step, so much so that it is infecting us with forgetfulness of Krishna. We are praying to Krishna to remove all this, but it is not going away. If we simply continue chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then for our pleasure and for our uninterrupted, unmotivated, and unlimited bliss, Krishna will take away all these things. Dhanam chamanam cha tathendriyani pranamscha hritva mama sarvameva. Look at Maharaj Parikshit. When he came to know that he's about to die in 7 days, he gave up his dhana, he gave up his mana. He literally gave up the attire of a king and he wore a kopin, a loin cloth, which just covers the private parts. That's all. Everything else is bare. Wearing that dress, giving up all sensory pleasures. Some people were trying to construct some palace which was on one pillar, and the construction was such a genius construction that not even a bird could enter there. They were trying all that parallelly. Parikshit Maharaj gave up everything. He gave up his life also, listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything which he had, he surrendered in the association of devotees. Why? Because Krishna gave him the inspiration to do so. And the last 7 days of the life of Parikshit Maharaj, they were so happy. If you meet Parikshit Maharaj in Golok Vrindavan and if you ask him that compare the happiness of the last 7 days of your life to your entire life, which is better? He would say that every moment I would like to die again and again if it means that I will attain the association of Shukdev Goswami and hear Srimad Bhagavatam from him. So when Krishna takes away the wealth, the honor, the sensory pleasures, he becomes your life and takes away everything which was otherwise important to you, you become very blissful. Because these are the obstacles in your Krishna consciousness. If you do not have that Akinchana mentality, these are the obstacles. Look at Srila Prabhupada. When he went to the West, he had 40 rupees. And after establishing 108 temples, when he came back to India, he still had 40 rupees. This consciousness of complete surrender to Krishna is called Krishna consciousness. Now, what is the sentiment of a devotee? A devotee who has allowed Krishna to do all this in his life. Krishna is a perfect gentleman. Don't be afraid that by chanting Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna will start doing all this to you. No, until unless you give the freedom to Krishna to interfere, he will not interfere. So those devotees who have allowed Krishna and have begged Krishna to do this, and who have achieved this uncontaminated bliss of Krishna consciousness, what is their feelings towards Krishna? What is their intimacy towards Krishna? That's the last 2 lines of the 5th stanza. Palayase kutra dhrito dyachaura tvam bhakti damna se maya niruddha. Bilva Mangal Thakur is telling, now that you have taken away everything, where can you run away from here? Palayase kutra, where are you trying to run away? Dhrito dyachaura, I will catch hold of you. Dhrita means catch. Tvam bhakti damna si maya niruddha. By the rope of my bhakti, damna, dam means rope. Tvam bhakti damna si maya niruddha. The word Aniruddha means the controller of the mind. Look at the intimacy which Bilva Mangal Thakur and the Acharyas they have with Krishna. They are saying, "Oh, my dear controller of the mind, with the rope of my devotion, I will bind you and I will keep you with me. You cannot run away now. You took away everything from me. You took away my life, my wealth, my sensory pleasures. You made me an akinchana. You took away my sinful. You took away everything. Now where are you going? I will tie you and keep you with the ropes of my devotion." But then Krishna would ask, "Okay, but where will you keep me? Everything belongs to me only. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitah." I am the source of emanation of all the spiritual and material worlds. My dear Bilva Mangal Thakur, my dear Acharya, my dear pure devotee, everything belongs to me. You are saying that you will tie me like Mother Yashoda, no problem. But where will you tie me? What belongs to you? I made you an akinchana. So to answer this question in the 6th verse, when he sees this heroic question from Krishna, then Bilva Mangal Thakur takes a little humble mood and he sings the 6th verse. Chinatsi ghoram yamapasha bandham bhinatsi bhimam bhavapasha bandham chinatsi sarvasya samasta bandham naivatmano bhakta kritam tu bandham. Then he tries to glorify Krishna a little bit. That, my dear Krishna, I'm tying you with the rope. I'm just doing one small activity. But what do you do? I'm tying you with a rope. But what do you do? Chinatsi ghoram yamapasha bandham. You don't tie up anybody with a rope. You release everybody's liberations. You release everybody's bondages. So yamapash, when those people who are sinful, who do not chant Hare Krishna, who don't associate with devotees, they are taken away by Yamadutas. So the Yamadutas, they come up with a Yamapash. It's a kind of a subtle rope, which they will throw it like this in your neck. And with the help of that rope, they can pull out your subtle body from your gross body. And along with your subtle body, the soul will also come out. They will give you something called as Yatna Sharir, which can tolerate the suffering, but it will not die. And in that Yatna Sharir, they take you to Yampuri for further hearing or for further judgment. So Bilva Mangal Thakur is telling, Chinatsi ghoram yamapash bandham. We have never heard in the scriptures that somebody cut the yamapash. But Bilva Mangal Thakur is telling that you are such a thief that you can cut the yamapash also. Bhinatsi bhimam bhavapash bandham. Now, how I became the recipient of yamapash? Because in my lifetime, I was tied by the bhavapash. Bhavapash means, bhava means ocean of birth and death, and pash means rope. So, because of attachment to unnecessary people and unnecessary things in the name of me and mine, I have become a recipient of repeated birth and death. That is called material existence. So, not only you cut the terrible rope of Yamaraj, but you also cut the dreadful rope of material existence. Yamapash is not as dangerous as Bhavapash. I'm trying to tie you with a rope, but what are you doing? You are so great, Krishna. Because Krishna has asked this question, where will you keep me? So yeah, Bilva Mangal Thakur is saying, 1 second, I'll tell you. You are so great. You cut the Yamapash also. You cut the Bhavapash also. Chinatsi sarvasya samasta bandham. And not only the Yamapash and not only the Bhavapash, you also, whatever other pash which we see, I am a devotee, I don't know everything, but you know everything. So not only you break away the yamapash or the bhavapash, but you also take away all the material bondages which I may be having, which has made me a recipient of the bhavapash and later the recipient of the yamapash. You are asking me where I can keep you, but before that, let me tell you, my dear Krishna. Naivatmano bhakta kritam tu bandham. You are known as the destroyer of yamapash, bhavapash, samasta bandhana. But if a devotee ties you with the love of devotion or with the rope of devotion, you cannot break that. So the translation goes, you cut the terrible noose of Yamaraj, you sever the dreadful rope of material existence, and you slash everyone's material bondage, but you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees. You cannot open that rope. You are helpless because you like that and you want it. So this is the loving transaction between Krishna and his devotees. Nobody can experience such intimacy with anybody else except Krishna. And now, question which Krishna asked, that where will you keep me? Bilva Mangal Thakur is with a lot of humility begging and answering and crying also at the same time. He's saying, Manamanase tamas rashi ghore karagrihe dukha maye nibaddha labhasvahe chaura hare chiraya Svachaurya dosho chitameva dandam. He's telling Manamanase tamas rashi ghore. Where will I keep you? I will keep you in my heart. But my dear Krishna, my heart is not a very good place. Mangal Thakur is telling, O stealer of everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in the miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to terrible darkness of my ignorance. And there, for a very, very long time, you will remain, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. Indirectly, Bilva Mangal Thakur is telling, this is the humility of the Acharyas. Now, they are such elevated souls. They have interactions with Krishna, but they feel that they are fallen conditioned souls. So we have to follow in those moods. This is called humility. We should not think that, oh, Bilva Mangal Thakur had some serious problem. Huh? His heart was full of unwanted things. No. His heart was completely clean. That's why Krishna, he's able to bind Krishna in it. But then how he feels, how a devotee or how a sadhaka should feel all the time. That, my dear Krishna, I'm going to put you in the miserable prison house of my heart. My dear Krishna, the sole aim of my life is that you enter my heart and stay there eternally. I want this and I pray for it, but I'm not qualified for it. My heart is a miserable place because of the tamasa, rashi ghore, because of the extreme ignorance, because of no devotion. My heart is not like a butter which you will relish. I'm inviting you to stay in my heart. My heart is not soft and purified and fresh with devotion like butter. It is a stinking, dirty place, which is very fearful. But my dear Krishna, I have heard that even fear personified is afraid of you. So I think my heart is a suitable place for you because it is very fearful. You are a hero. You kindly come here and then remain there for a very long time. I'm afraid. Don't just do some gundicha marjan in my house, in my heart. Don't just come there, clean my heart, give me some ecstasies of pure devotion and again go away. No, I'm a conditioned soul. The moment you will leave, again, my nature is to go towards the conditioned state of existence. So therefore, my heart is fearful. Tamasa rashi ghore. You please come there, but you stay there for a very, very long time. Stay there eternally. Don't ever leave. And then, Svachaurya dosho chitameva dandam. Receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. This basically means receiving eternal love and devotion for having liberated me from all the Yamapash, Bhavapash, and other things. I want to render eternal devotional service to you. Please tolerate me and accept my loving devotional service for the rest of eternity. That is what it means. But Krishna likes this mood in which Bilva Mangal Thakur is presenting it. In a parental affection mood. Bilva Mangal Thakur is in the mood of Vatsalya Rasa. So he's telling Svachaurya dosho chitam eva dandam. I'll beat you for what you have done to me. And Krishna likes it. Kara, 8th verse. Kara grahe vasa sada hridaye madiye madbhakti pasha dridha bandhanah nischala san. Tvam Krishna hai pralaya koti shatantarepi sarvasva chaura hridayam nahi mochayami. So Bilva Mangal Thakur is ending with a prayer. Till now he was telling Krishna, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll put you here, I'll do this, you are like this, you are like this, you are like this. But his real mood is being revealed in the last verse. O Krishna, thief of my everything, the rope of my devotion remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart, because I will not release you for millions of eons, or for millions of forest of eternity, basically it means. So what is the, Krishna may ask, for how long you want me to be in your heart? Bilva Mangal Thakur is praying that for the rest of eternity, you please kindly reside in the lotus of my heart. Always be with me so that I can always remember you and never forget you. Please become a prisoner in my heart. Please always, prisoner means you cannot go out whenever you want. That's called as prison house. So similarly, Krishna, the devotees are telling that you please come in my heart. But you are a supremely independent personality. You can come at any time. You can leave at any time. You cheated Narad Muni also like that. You cheated Dhruv Maharaj also like that. You appeared in their heart and they could see you for some time. But then again, you vanished. Don't do that to me, please. You showed your darshan to Narad Muni in the core of his heart. But then you immediately disappeared. And you said that for one lifetime, you continue hankering for me. Don't do that to me, please. Please consider my heart as a prison house. You took birth in a prison house. Why can't you take birth in my heart? Come there, stay there, reside eternally there. And if at all you want to leave, please check with me once. And then I will never let you leave. And I'll always keep you for millions of yugas, for the rest of eternity in my heart. So this is this very wonderful bhajan written by our acharyas. It's called as Chaurashtakam. I just came into the word by word explanation, but actually every verse has a theme. Yeah. So hope all of you have relished this bhajan. And if there are any questions or comments, we can take it now. And once we have taken the questions, comments, or reflections, we will sing this bhajan in one shot once more, and we will end today's discussion. You can share some reflections, or you can share. Reflections means something which you liked in today's session, which you would like to carry home with you, or something which you liked and you want to share with everybody so that you may remember, or some extra angle which you saw in one particular point of discussion. You want to bring that into the light by sharing with others. All these are called reflections. So anybody who would like to share some reflections, you are welcome to do so. You can just raise your hand and everybody else will get benefited from your thought process. Abhishek Mishra is raising his hand. Okay, you can unmute yourself, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji. So I think, like as I said, that Chaurashtakam is one of my favorite, bhajans. And why one of my favorite? It is the favorite bhajan of mine. And I think the lyrics which is there is just simply incomparable. Like it's very, very difficult to write such deep lyrics with such a deep meaning. But I think in today's realization, the new thing which I learned was the life of Bilva Mangal Thakur, who is the author of this bhajan, and that in itself is very, very inspiring for me, right? Like it gives a lot of kind of uh, a sense of comfort, that like he was such a
It
fallen
is hope
conditioned
for me
soul.
also, huh?
Yeah, hope for us also, right? That he was such a fallen conditioned soul, but still, Krishna took care of him. And the point at which you said that his spiritual master was speaking through that prostitute, that like really shook me up, at that point of time. So this was a very, very nice realization, Prabhu. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes, so spiritual master, that is the meaning of Guru Tattva. Being a guru is not an easy job, actually. Chakshudan dilo jay janme janme prabhu sei. The spiritual master takes responsibility. The Guru Tattva takes responsibility. And who is the Guru Tattva? It is the manifestation of Krishna. That's why if we want to attain Krishna, we have to go through Guru. Without obtaining the mercy of the spiritual master, it is not possible to obtain Krishna. And when Krishna becomes very pleased with us, he sends a spiritual master in our life. So spiritual master is a transparent via medium between the guru and the disciple. And one should remain eternally grateful to a spiritual master. One should not try to increase the burden of a spiritual master, but one should be sure that my spiritual master will always be there for me. I'll just narrate one short incident which I have read in the Back to Godhead magazine. So there was one disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Prabhupada. After the disappearance of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, this disciple, who was a god brother of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, somehow lost track in his Krishna consciousness. He got into materialistic association, and therefore he started eating fish and stopped chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, became involved in intoxicants, and basically started breaking all four relative principles and was not practicing Krishna consciousness. So when the time of his death came, as usual, the Yamadutas came to take him. And when he was standing in front of Yamraj, at that time, Yamraj was asking him that what kind of punishment should we give you? At that time, this disciple told, before you announce any punishment for me, I just want to inform you, or I just want to tell you that I am the disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. It will be good if you consult him also before giving me some punishment. Yamaraj, being a Vaishnava, he said, no problem. And then he requested Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's presence there. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared there. And then he discussed with Yamaraj. And then he told Yamaraj, just give me a minute. And then he came to his disciple, and then he scolded him very badly. That what kind of a useless disciple you are? What you are doing all these things? Get lost from here. Go back in your body, and then for the rest of the life, whatever you have remaining, I give you these many years more, 10 years or something, 5 years, I don't know what he said. I give you this much more life. Go back in that body and practice Krishna consciousness nicely. This time, you have to be serious. In front of Yamaraj, only Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told that. Yamaraj was silently listening. And after that, this disciple woke up in his dead body. He had died, and then he woke up in his dead body, and then he told everybody that I was there in the court of Yamaraj, and Guru Maharaj came there, and in front of Yamaraj, he chastised me, and he told me to lead a proper Krishna conscious life. And then Yamaraj gave permission, and then I'm back again. And then you see, I've got a second chance. So that is the power of a spiritual master. You need to have faith and devotion to a spiritual master, and then certainly you can attain Krishna. But this does not mean that you become like that disciple. Okay, just wanted to share that. That spiritual master is mercy personified, of mercy personification of Krishna. Amal Bhadri Prabhu, would you like to share something? You've raised your hand.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Dandvat Pranam.
Prabhuji, this bhajan we have heard, but this deep meaning has not been understood or has never been heard by us. And I'm really grateful that such a deep meaning bhajan has been narrated on this auspicious day of Ekadashi. I have a small query, Prabhuji, that the Lord is super soul and he is in my heart. Why has Srila Mangal Thakur has to pray so much to the Lord to be in his prison now?
Yes. Question is, why do we need to pray so much? Why doesn't Krishna come easily? He's there as the Paramatma in our heart. So these prayers are meant for our personal purification. Bilwa Mangal Thakur is saying that just like, see, even if the Prime Minister has to come at a particular place, there is a protocol which is followed. You have to contact the Prime Minister's office and then he will come. Similarly, the protocol of offering prayers to Krishna purifies the devotee and makes the devotee competent enough to receive the mercy of Krishna. You see, in the example of Lord Chaitanya also, it was told in the Bhagavatam, it was told in the Narasimha Puran, in the Padma Puran, in the various other scriptures that this day, this time, at this place, in the house of these parents, Lord Chaitanya is going to appear. But still, personalities like Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur, they spent a lifetime in prayer trying to invoke the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. So that is the process, that is the protocol. These prayers are not essentially meant for anything else other than our own purification. When we offer prayers to Krishna, we become more close to Krishna. We spend more time in remembrance of Krishna. Krishna wants it, Krishna likes it, he demands it. Otherwise, why the gopis of Vrindavan, in the Rasasthali, they are offering the Gopi Geet prayers? Because that helps them to intensify their own devotion and purify their own standard or level in Krishna consciousness. So these prayers are meant for us. And when Krishna hears these prayers, he becomes very satisfied. Just like the way Prahlad Maharaj is praying. The residents of Jambu Dweep are praying. Dhruv Maharaj is praying. By their prayers, not only are they trying to please the Lord, but essentially they are trying to purify themselves also. That is my understanding. The more you pray, the more intimate you become to Krishna. The more you pray, the more sincere you become in your own practice of Krishna consciousness. The more you pray, the more powerful you become in your journey of Krishna consciousness. So prayers are the via medium by which you can receive the mercy of Krishna. That is my understanding. Amalatma Prabhu, does it answer your query? If it does, you can either type yes or unmute yourself and answer.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So very nicely explained. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Deepmala Golani Mataji, you can unmute yourself now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Prabhuji, like in my heart, I feel that it will be good if Krishna takes everything, what I feel is mine, and like also giving me pleasure. But on other side, I'm scared also that what will happen if I lose everything. So these, like both the thoughts come in my mind. So like I want to know that.
So therefore, don't pray like that.
No, both the thoughts come in my mind. No? Sometimes I feel.
See, one thing you should know, that Krishna will never put you through a test which you cannot pass. Krishna knows you better than yourself. He knows to what level or to what degree or to what extent he has to push whom. If Krishna knows that, first of all, Krishna will never take away things like this unless and until you give him the freedom to do so. If you are sincerely praying to Krishna that everything which is a distraction in Krishna consciousness, my dear Lord, please take away so that I become completely surrendered to your lotus feet. If you're really praying like this, then Krishna will interfere. Otherwise, he'll not interfere. That's the first consideration. Second consideration is, even if Krishna decides to do something, he will not do something which you cannot handle or which you cannot tolerate. Please understand, Krishna will never give you a test which you cannot pass. If he puts you through a test, he gives you the strength to pass through it also. Sometimes he will make you fail so that you realize that you are not up to that level. But even that he will do very carefully. Just like a parent who's trying to make a child walk, the child may not be so very careful. The child may not be able to know what he's going to hit against or dash against. But the parent is more careful than the child himself. So similarly, when Krishna puts us through various tests or tries to give us something or take something from us, he is more careful than us. So don't worry. Even if we fall, we will fall in the hands of Krishna. Even if we walk, we will walk towards Krishna. So therefore, whatever he does, let him do whatever he thinks proper. And from our side, we should try to be honest. We should try to be genuine. Humility means to understand at which level of Krishna consciousness I am standing, and not thinking that I am just next to the level of Prabhupada or I am Dhruv Maharaj or something like that. So we have to understand where we are, where we stand, and at the same time, we have to keep praying to Krishna and have full faith in Krishna that he will do the right thing only. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, some questions, some thoughts have come in the chat. I learn, Sarojini Panda, I learn before you die, an important, I don't know what is mentioned. I learn before you die. Who's raising hand? Sarojini Panda Mataji is raising. Okay, no. Some should have some so that he can poke himself. Please explain this if time. I'm not understanding this question. I'm sorry. Okay, I will just take a minute. The mobile hotspot with which I'm connected, the battery of that mobile is draining out. So I will change my mobile. There will be a short interruption in the video. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Would you like to make some comment? You can unmute yourself. Puneet Bhatia, you've raised your hand. You can unmute yourself. Gunda Vijay Kumar, you can also unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Puneet Prabhu.
Yeah. So first of all, it was a very wonderful session for me. This is my first online session, and previously I attended a couple of sessions in the Kanamangala Bhakti Center. There are a couple of takeaways. The most important and takeaway is that we should surrender everything what I have to Lord Krishna, and they will take care of me and my belongings. Right? So one question I have. So as we know that it is, that in this material world, we cannot leave everything, right? As it said that the Grihasth Jivan is even more tougher than a sannyasi life, right? So
Who told you that?
yeah, no. So this is
Anyways, to each
because,
one his own.
yeah,
Okay.
this is because the reason is we have to make a balance. When you say that that we have to make a balance between our family and all this and the bhakti of Krishna. So how we should decide that this is the limit that we should go to this material world? What is the, you can say, the guidance you want to give, like in that point where we should think that we should be in this material world up to this limit and then we should not go beyond that? How we should maintain a balance between that? That's my question.
The question by Puneet Prabhu is that how to maintain balance in Krishna consciousness. I want to have some material enjoyment also. I want to have a material life also. I want to have some spiritual nourishment also. I want to have a spiritual life also. So how to maintain the balance? Puneet Prabhu, if you keep seeing your material life separate from your spiritual life, then all these problems will be there. But if you see that your life is just one life, is dedicated to Krishna, and the central purpose of your life is to serve Krishna and his devotees, and apart from that you have to take care of your prescribed duties in an obligatory way, then there is no balancing act which is needed. Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So those who are serving Krishna with love and devotion, Tesham satata, continuously, bhajatam priti purvakam, with love and affection, those who are rendering devotional service to Krishna continuously, dadami buddhi yogam tam. You're asking how to understand, till what limit I should push to do the balancing act. Krishna will give you the intelligence to do so. Yena mam upayantite, by which you can ultimately go back home, back to God. So my suggestion to you is, don't look your material life as separate. Don't live a split personality life. This is not just to you, but for everybody. That I am XYZ person outside the temple, but when I enter the temple, I am somebody else. No, you're the same person. You should not separately endeavor for your spiritual life and separately endeavor for your material life. Please understand that if you take care of your spiritual life, material life will automatically be taken care of. But if you just focus on the material life and ignore your spiritual life, then everything will be spoiled. So therefore, real balance means knowing where to put your time. You have to chant, that cannot be compromised. You have to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that cannot be compromised. You have to hear some lectures like this, that cannot be compromised. So you decide that these many hours of a day or these many hours of a week are simply set aside for Krishna consciousness. Now, whatever remains in that, I have to perform my material or my prescribed duties. This is called a sensible way of life. Not that, sometimes I'm not getting time to chant, or sometimes I don't have to go to office, so I'm chanting 64 rounds. This will not help, actually. When we see our material life and spiritual life as two different things, we need to be very much worried about making the balance. But when we see that primarily speaking, spiritual life is of prime importance and prime priority in my life, and if I take care of my spiritual life, my material life will automatically be taken care of, then the balance becomes very sahaj or very easy. Krishna gives you the buddhi yoga, the intelligence by which you can do so. However, buddhi yoga from Krishna comes through his devotees. So therefore, Another very important thing to do is that you have to be always in consultation with senior devotees, that Prabhuji, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to make this change in my lifestyle, I'm trying to take this next step in my life. So always keep consulting with devotees, and they will see all the spiritual and material angles around that problem or situation, and then they'll be able to give you advice based on your degree of surrender to Krishna. You cannot take an extreme step like a Paramahamsa. Similarly, you cannot live like a materialist also. So the degree to which you have Shraddha, and to the degree to which you can push yourself in surrender to Krishna and Krishna consciousness, some concerned third-party devotee who is mature enough in assessing that should guide you, and you should take that guidance from that devotee. And then under the guidance of that devotee, you should practice Krishna consciousness, and then Krishna will take care of everything else. Does this answer your question, Puneet Bhatia? You can unmute yourself and say yes or no.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Don't be afraid, huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Sarojini Panda, this is the last question of the day. Since you had mentioned your question in the chat box, so we'll take it now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you.
Yes, Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Giving me option to say something. So first thing I learned, die before you die. Then I want to ask a question, Prabhuji. Actually, how
But
come
what did you learn before you die?
you have to leave everything? Dhananya.
If you don't do that, you'll be forced to do that, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
That I learned. Actually, that only practicing, like, means we grihasthas are practicing more and more. We need to practice again. So again, Mother Prabhuji, that how come this devotees are empowered to do so? Like, how come they are getting the power of such a humility? And he Birla Mangal Thakur, he poked his eyes with his own hand. Some daring, some power should be there, no? So I want to know that power. And we heard that Goswami, the Chintamani stone, he threw it in the dustbin. We are saying, Prabhuji, if you give me Chintamani stone, I will not throw in dustbin, I am sure. So that thing I wanted to learn, actually.
Okay,
the
how to
quality,
get that
the
power?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The power is love, Mataji. If you love someone, you can go to any extent to do anything. For example, if your leg is tied by a chain and there is one big rock which is falling on your body, so you have two options. Either you remain tied to that chain and die, or else the second option is you have time, you can just cut your leg from there and run away. You will lose just one leg, but you will save your entire body. What will you do? The choice is obvious. Just for one leg, you will not die because you love your body. So similarly, when it comes to having two eyes at the cost of losing Krishna, these two eyes are of no value. These are the realizations of a pure devotee. Presently speaking, if somebody comes and asks us, okay, you give us your two hands, or otherwise you will not achieve Krishna, we'll say, "Theek hai Baba, I don't want Krishna, let me have my two hands." That is our contaminated state of existence. Like you're saying, Sanatana Goswami was attached to Krishna, not to the Parasmani, or not to the touchstone, Chintamani. That Chintamani was simply a disturbance in his spiritual life. So what do you want? Do you want all the utensils in your house made of gold, or do you want Krishna? That is the question. So in a purified state of existence, you will answer that, yes, I want Krishna. Because this gold will not remain with me eternally. But if I get Krishna, then I have everything. So when we get this realization, that realization will give us the power. And this realization comes by the mercy of devotees. This realization comes by the mercy of Krishna. This realization comes when we sincerely and seriously rise in love with Krishna. We fall in love with others, but we rise in love with Krishna. So when we truly love Krishna and when we really want Krishna and nothing else, then we become empowered. Just read the Jaladuta prayers which Srila Prabhupada wrote on the Boston Harbor on the ship by which he was traveling, where he had 2 heart attacks. That will help us to understand what is Krishna consciousness. These acharyas, they are ready to pay any price. They are very clear in their heart that I just want Krishna and I'm ready to pay any price for it, because any price is an insignificant price to attain Krishna. What to speak of 2 eyes? Let us sacrifice our entire existence to attain Krishna. So when we have this kind of consciousness, when we have this kind of love for Krishna, which only comes by associating with those devotees who have that kind of love for Krishna, then you become empowered. Then, these proposals of Maya will not disturb you. Maya will test you. Do you want Chintamani or do you want Krishna? Do you want sometimes the test becomes gross also. Do you want your eyes or do you want Krishna? Do you want to save this baby deer or do you want Krishna? Maya will test you in all possible ways. Only when you will surpass all the tests of Maya, then Krishna will accept you. And then Maya will leave you. See, Bilva Mangal Thakur would have had to face, suppose if he wouldn't have plucked out his eyes, then he would have needed, it would have been needed for him to pass few more tests. And ultimately he would have passed also, with or without his eyes. But he didn't want to waste time. He just wanted to cut short he wanted to give a very strong notice to Maya that, look, I have no time for you. All I want is Krishna. You are planning another 10 years of tests for me. Let's end it now. It ends here and it ends now. I'll pluck off my eyes. Now what you will do? Then Maya will say, okay, now I cannot do anything. It is very clear to me that you want only Krishna and nothing else. Please accept my respectful obeisances. Thank you very much. All the best for your journey back home, back to Godhead. So intense attachment to Krishna gives us that power. As long as we do not have intense attachment to Krishna, we should try to serve those devotees who have intense attachment to Krishna. And by their mercy, one day we will also have. Shushusho Shraddhadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevanat. Srimad Bhagavatam says that by serving those devotees whose hearts are pure, great service is done. And by the result of this service is that we become very much attached to Krishna. Vasudeva Katharuchi. When somebody will chant the name of Krishna or the form of Krishna or the qualities of Krishna or the pastimes of Krishna, I will take a lot of ruchi to hear it. And by their mercy, by serving those devotees, my Vasudeva Katharuchi will increase. My love for Krishna will increase. So that is the way to get that power. And that is the way to attain that state of existence. We should not imitate that, but we should understand that love of Krishna or love of God is so great that one is ready to sacrifice everything for that purpose. What to speak of 2 eyes? One can sacrifice the entire body for that purpose. Does this answer your question, Sarojini Panda, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now what we will do?
We need to practice more and more sincere in Krishna consciousness and
You need to serve the devotees of Krishna.
But Prabhuji, serving means listening to devotees, or we need to serve like how we need to serve. That was
That you have to use your intelligence. The goal of service, to serve, means to please.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Love means to serve, and serve means to please. Sometimes we become so much involved in our seva that we don't care whether whom we are serving, that person is pleased or not. I just want to do my seva. But that is not called seva. So you have to see how to please. How to please Srila Prabhupada, you think yourself. How to please the sincere followers of Srila Prabhupada, you think yourself. And try to do something which will please them. That is called seva. It can be anything based on time, place, and circumstances. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
Thank you,
now
Prabhuji.
I would like to end this session. We will just sing the bhajan once completely so that you can hear the sound vibrations in one shot completely. And I hope and I pray that you will be able to relish it. So I'm singing it now. And after that, I'll request all of you to chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra off the session, and then we'll end the discussion. Braje prasidham navneet chauram gopangananam jadukula chauram aneka janmarjita papa chauram chauragraganyam purusham namam. Shri Radhikaya Hridayasya Chauram Navam Buddha Shamalkanti Chauram Padashritanam Chasamasta Chauram Chauragraganyam Purusham Namami Akinchani Kritya Padashritam Yah Karoti bhikshum pathigehahinam kenapyaho bhishana chauraidrig drishtah shruto va na jagatrayepi yadi anamapi haratya shesham giri parasham api paparasham आश्चर्य रूपो ननु चौरईदृग दृष्टाः श्रुतो वा न मया कदापि धनं च मानं च फेन्द्रियाणि प्राणांश्च हृत्वा मम सर्वमेव पलायसे कुत्र धृतो जचौर त्वं भक्तिदाम्नासि मया निरुद्ध क्षीणत्सि घोरं यमपाशबन्धम् भिनत्सि भीमं भवपाशबन्धम् क्षीणस्सि सर्वस्य समस्तबन्धं नैवात्मनो भक्तकृतं तु बन्धं मनमानसे तामसराशि घोरे कारागृहे दुःखमये निबद्ध लभस्व हे चौरहरे चिराय स्वचौर्य दोषोचितमेव दण्डम् कारागृहे वस सदा हृदये मदीये मद्भक्तिपाशदृढ बन्धन निश्चलः सन् त्वां कृष्ण प्रलय कोटि शतान्तरेऽपि सर्वस्व चौरा हृदयान् नहि मोचयामि व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीत चौरं व्रजे प्रसिद्धं नवनीत चौरं गोपाङ्गनानां चदुकुल चौरं अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. See you next week with this session, which we have decided today. Hopefully, we'll do that. Simple women with sublime devotion. We'll discuss about the pure devotion of the Gopis.